This draft? What's there not to say? This is just the beginning for these guys. It's time to come home.
Tries to make a dribble and fumbles the football. It's picked up and walking into the end zone.
All these minor league players looking to make their impact? There's only one place to do that.
Oh my goodness!
Put up or shut up.
Oh boy!
The time to make your mark is now. Never before has the spotlight been brighter.
He always comes up big in big-time situations.
Can you stand the heat?
They did not catch him.
I made my mark.
With the 13th pick, the Chicago Wildcats select Mike Improta.
It's time to make yours.
Throwing it to the top of the screen. Looks like Mike Improta get the call.
This is the SFL draft. I'll see you on the field.
What a fantastic intro. Cannot get over how great a job Mike Improta did. Season 14 draftee, superstar in the making. Back for part 2 of the supplemental draft, round 7. We are in the home stretch. I'm your host, Stephen Hacker, along with these great panelists, Colin Northrup, Liam Crowder, Jeff Melanishin, and we have a new panelist, Jacob Bouvet, Portland owner. Give us a wave, Jacob. Draw attention to yourself. Great guy. We'll get his thoughts here in a second. As we get going here in this draft, we're going to pick up at the top of the order. St. Louis Gladiators are on the clock. Now, as promised, Jacob Bouvet, we're going to give you a chance to talk about what it means to you to be an owner and how you handled this draft process and free agency process. So give us a chance to know who you are and your thoughts on this offseason.
And thank you so much. Being an owner here in this great league is a privilege to be voted in by every single one of the owners, and I am in gratitude and grateful for them. The draft, if I didn't have my staff, Mel Davis, Nelson, those guys really made this draft very easy for us here in Portland, and this draft has been awesome. It's been a great experience for myself and my staff, and I just can't wait to get the rookies here on the field.
Fantastic. Love to hear it. So we are on the clock with St. Louis. Colin, do you have any, you want to give us any little hints here before we get going, or do you want me to go to the other panelists?
Well, the only hint I'll give is another offensive player.
Fantastic.
Do with that what you will.
All right, guys. So, Liam, you have 11 choices. Colin's done you a favor and narrowed it down. So let's take a look here. Let's look on the offensive side of the ball. Is there anybody there that you see for St. Louis?
I definitely think they're going to pick someone who can play American football. That's definitely what's going to happen here. I think maybe. Well, I've already got a fullback. I mean, there's positions across the board which have been taken here for St. Louis. Maybe a tight end or another offensive lineman. I think that's probably where I would go.
Yeah, offensive lineman could be the way to go. Jeff, St. Louis, where do you think they go here, the first pick of the 7th round?
Oh man, well he said it's gonna be offense. So all their supplemental picks will be on the offensive side of the football. In the 5th round, they went with their running back Cairo Martinez. Then they went Zach Holdorf on the offensive line. So what I'm thinking is, as I'm taking a look at what St. Louis has, they do have Phil Koss at tight end. Do they go Alex Daniel, who's still available as a tight end for Annapolis? He was I called a lot of his games. He's a really good tight end. Made a lot of nice plays, and when called upon, possibly a fit there. 2 tight ends there with St. Louis then.
All right, and the pick is in. St. Louis is ready to move. We're going to head over to Commissioner Cameron Irvine.
With the 116th pick in the SFL's Season 15 rookie draft, the St. Louis Gladiators select Paul Dillevue, wide receiver, Bismarck, North Dakota. Portland's on the clock with the 117th pick.
Man, Paul Dillevue, I was so excited about this guy. He had an amazing kick return that I saw. I think he had two, but I saw one in particular, a punt return in the minors, and it was fantastic play. Really, really dynamic player on that side on the special teams. Jacob, you want to break down this pick? I'm sorry, Colin. Let's give it to Colin. The new gladiator, Paul Dillevue. Let's give it to Colin. Colin, tell us how you feel about adding Paul to your team.
I feel great. Of course, everybody knows about his punt return in the minor league title game. We lost Chase Earl in free agency, and we know Earl was a dynamic kick returner for us, and we feel Dillaboo can do just as good a job, perhaps even better.
Yeah, and getting some of those special teams returns, whether it be punt return, kick return, those are little wrinkles in the game that where you can capitalize on that and get a win in a situation where you might not have otherwise. So 117, Portland's on the clock. You can see Jacob down there in the bottom left on the phone trying to contact his next prospect. So Liam, where do you think Portland's going to go here with the second pick in the 7th round?
Come on, Jacob, give me a hand, man. It's just after midnight here. I gotta.
He gave you the hand.
Okay, Portland. Let's see what you got. Yeah, I mean, pretty at this stage, really, in the draft. I mean, teams are pretty well fleshed out along pretty much everywhere. The main obvious positions are not really candidates for being selected now. You're talking about like quarterback, the running back type positions, the real highlight spots, the franchise spots. So again, I'll probably be inclined to think maybe along the line somewhere, whether that be on the offensive or defensive side of the ball. So yeah, I think that's probably where Portland are going. But I gotta say, I think that both the expansion teams have done really well in terms of getting value on the board and getting the right guys in. I think they've done a very good job. So all props to Jacob and everybody. Well, for yourself as well, Stephen. You've done a great job in Fort Worth. So
Yeah, and compliments definitely. That's something that the front office of Fort Worth has given credit to Portland for, is working their butts off in the offseason, trying to go from 0 to 20, and so it is a challenge. Jeff, we've got just a little bit of time left here for Portland. Why don't you dive into this pick for us?
Yeah, first off, congratulations to Paul Dillabau being finally taken off the board. Great, excellent pick from St. Louis Gladiators, and stepping in right then and there with Owens and Madavi. It's going to be a formidable receiving core that's going to be shaping up in St. Louis. But for Portland, with pretty much with Seifert being taken, I mean, now they could add somebody to go on the opposite side of Nuevo with Darwin, and maybe form a defensive front there of the front four that would be pretty outstanding. But also we have to see if some of these teams are going to try to go with an offensive lineman. Can they talk one of these rookies, maybe a Kevin Say who's still on the board? Like I said, maybe with St. Louis, with Alex Daniel being a tight end, moving to offensive line, is that maybe something that he would be of interest in? There's definitely a lot of areas that Jacob can go down. For me, I mean, maybe the defensive end just to solidify that front four.
Yeah, and that's something that I've been looking at a lot. Jeff, was the three linebackers that Portland was able to sign have amazing value. I like having a rangy linebacker, but he's got Jacob, and Portland has three top-notch linebackers, and if he can get 4 defensive linemen to really shore up that front seven, again, I think that's something that they looked at. Was there's a lot of teams that like to run the ball. Jacob came from Denver. Denver loves to pound the rock. Well, maybe Jacob was onto something. Maybe Jacob's like, hey, I figured out a counter, how to stop your run heavy, and that's by getting a tough, stout front seven that knows how to shut down the run.
Yeah, or I mean, I know the pick is in, but
yeah,
even with those with those 3 linebackers, do they also say, well, we got those 3 linebackers that could come and play the run? Do we go offensive line just to solidify the offense?
Good point. We will see where they go. Pick is in. Cameron Irvine with the pick.
With the 117th pick of the SFL's Season 15 rookie draft, the Portland Fleet select Robert Brouwer, defensive end. Lone Star has the 118th selection.
118 Lone Star is on the clock. Jacob, tell us about defensive end Robert Brouwer.
You guys kind of hit the nail on the head. We have the best linebacking core in the in the SFL, and it was just to solidify that defense because book out of Eddie Gage's page, wins championships, and Robert will shear up one side, Nuevo will shear up the other side. Gary Burney and Bernard Patterson right there in the middle. So teams are going to have to throw it on us, and our secondary isn't anything to sleep on. Also,
great. So now you are full. You are at 20 rostered players. Is there anybody that you want to give a special shout out? Any player that maybe just it didn't work out, you couldn't get him there, but is deserving of a roster spot? Is there anybody particular, somebody special to you that you want to give a shout out?
Definitely. There's like what Jeff said, Kevin Say, Doug Britton. Don't any ownership out there that are that are looking for quality players that are in it to win it. Definitely look at
shameless plugs though. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram.
His beard is not that impressive. Come on now.
Oh, come on.
It is
not as impressive.
A little bit higher, Charles. Hold that side a little bit higher, Charles. You almost had it. And I didn't mean to cut you off there, Jacob. It's just Doherty with these. There it is, Doherty with. Oh man, I can't even read that Instagram one. Man, that's great. Yeah, Charles is just distracting us here. But Jacob, finish your thought there on some prospects that were worth a second look here for these other owners.
Doug Britton, Kevin Say, please, if you're not looking, just they are willing to play just about anything, and I wish I could have had them here in Portland, but they're out there for the other owners.
There is still plenty of talent out there, plenty of guys looking to make an impact, looking to make the roster go from couch to field. Lone Star is on the clock. Let's go with Colin. Colin, what do you see that Lone Star could do here with their last pick in the supplemental draft?
Well, they have 2 wide receivers, so they could go a third wide receiver, or they could go a halfback. I could see both of those options working out for them. Kevin Say is still available. I think that'd be a good landing spot.
All right, Liam, do you agree? Do you think they might be looking at running back, or do you believe they're the hype from Lone Star where they're saying they're not going to draft a running back? Do you believe that hype, or do you think this is where they finally pull the trigger?
I refuse to believe that hype because I've been there and done that, and if they do that, then I mean, good luck, because you're a one-dimensional team if you do that, and you won't have any run game. It's going to be very brave, but if they really want to commit to, it's an interesting statistic actually, and probably not a lot of people outside of maybe the ownership group know this. It's not. Don't worry, it's not secret info or anything like that. The pass game in the SFL is heavily weighted towards interceptions. There are a lot more interceptions per pass in the SFL than there is in other football leagues in real life. And that is something you have to consider. So when teams go to running the ball, you've got the offensive system in London and St. Louis that Gerald obviously helped me develop, that focuses a lot on the screen and focuses on the run game. And if you're going to go with a very pass-heavy offense, of which I am a big fan as an air raid guy, then that's great. But you have to take the risk as well with that. So it would be interesting to see if Lone Star do go for it. I think it's really brave, but they have to be aware of the dangers there. and I'm looking forward to seeing what this pick is. It looks like it's in. So
Yeah, they could be very bold here in their first season, trying to change things, shake things up in the SFL. But the pick is in, so we will kick it over to Commissioner Cameron Irvine.
With the 118th pick in the SFL's Season 15 rookie draft, the Lone Star Glory select female running back Ike McBride, Albuquerque, New Mexico. London is on the clock with 119.
About that, trying to get a height, weight. But fantastic pick. Definitely could not see that one coming. But Lone Star found their running back and finally announces it. Jeff, what do you think of this pick? Recap it for us.
Oh, man. With Kevin Say still on the board, there was also another running back that was also on the board as well still that hasn't been selected yet. I just lost it here. Micah Dillon from Birmingham Fuel was also on the board. But here, they obviously saw that she came into the league and she must have made a great pitch, or they must have had a great just formidable conversations that they've had with each other. So this one probably goes down to, finding the uncut gems, finding somebody that probably just joined. And you know what? This is what the SFL is all about. You just never know what is going to happen. And here in the 7th round, you guys all hit it on the head, going with a running back here. And I've been part of the no running back situation, and it's like Liam said, it's not fun at all to do. So he hit it on the nail on the head with this running back pick, and it's going to be interesting to see what she could do in the SFL. It's probably going to take a little bit to get going, but I'm excited to see what she could do in the league and see if she could put all the doubters, because I know there are going to be Kevin Say people out there that are going to be like, why didn't you take Kevin Say? He's still on the board. Obviously, the team Lone Star, they made their selection, and now it's going to be fun to see what she could do week in and week out.
Yeah, so I think I want to piggyback off of that, Jeff, and I want to throw it to Jacob, because I think that's a good point. A lot of people will say, well, why didn't you take this? Why didn't you take that? And I think, Jacob, explain to us why it's important to have faith in your process and in your general managers and in your ownership group whenever you're scouting and talking to these prospects and these players, why you have to go with your gut, right? Why is that an important thing, that you have to trust your staff and that you have to vet and talk to these and make sure you have a relationship with your potential prospects?
Steven, you really have to trust your gut at this, because there's over 200 rookies, in this class, and you can talk till you're blue in the face until you can find that right one that fits your system and also gels with every single one in your front office. And if they don't gel, well, then you just go on to the next one. You go on to the next one, and all because they don't gel with you doesn't mean that they won't gel with, say, the Toros or Louisiana or something like that. So the best thing that I can tell rookies still right now, there are owners, GMs that really don't know, that are later in the draft, Stephen, that may not know who they want. So continue to message them and try to put your name out. And like Jeff said, I am shocked that Britain wasn't taken. It's just, why are we leaving good value out there and we're not taking these guys? And that's no knock on anyone that has been taken, but Doug Britton, man, someone please take this guy. I beg you, if I had a sign that said Britton, do it.
Fantastic. Great recommendation there from Jacob Bouvet, Portland's owner. The pick is in, London's 119th pick. So let's go to Commissioner Cameron Irvine.
With the 119th pick in the SFL's SFL Season 15 rookie draft, it's been 119 picks. The London Knights select Dayton Rhodes, tight end, Orange County, California. Charleston's on the clock with the 120th pick.
And so London, hinting earlier, I believe, that they were looking maybe at a second tight end. Now, Liam, you've got your second tight end. Tell us what this pick means to you and how excited you are to have Dayton on your team.
Yeah, we had some good conversations with Dayton. Tanner has got some familiarity with him. We're excited about having the second tight end alongside Benji Matson, who's already made big impacts for the team. Doing a lot from a content standpoint for us now and communication standpoint. We're really excited. It gives us a lot in terms of what we do on offense. I like having maybe guys who you wouldn't necessarily expect to be split out wide, like an extra tight end, like the running back, like the fullback. So it gives us it opens up the playbook and it gives us mismatches. So I'm enjoying being able to game plan with two tight ends rather than the single one. And we think Dayton's going to be a big part of the team. I think, people thinking we got a steal here. I certainly think so. And I think our entire draft has been, really amazing. From the first round to the last, we've made a big impact. I think with every single pick that we've had. So I'm looking forward to getting the season up and running. We're going to make the playoffs, I think, this season, and move on to eventually win a championship. So that's the dream. We're just going to do as much as we can to be as successful as possible, and beat some of our close rivals whilst we're at it. So
Love it. And then that's great. From the top of the organization, you set the tone for your team. So I think the London Knights have a lot of things to be excited about going into season 15. Colin, we have Charleston on the clock with pick 120. They selected the defensive end earlier and really shored up that defense. So where do you think Charleston's looking to go here with their final selection in this supplemental draft?
Well, I say you get Keith Swearingen some more toys, give him a fullback. He already has the couple offensive linemen already, so it's just more blockers for that run game. They already have the two tight ends, so it's just more power football.
Yeah, it lets them really set up. Swearingen for them came in, was with Indianapolis, but stayed with the franchise as they moved to Charleston, and was really the big piece, I believe, in that from the transition from Indy to Charleston was Swearingen. That was their big key piece to move with them, and they've built around him and have done a really good job. Brought in quarterback TD Drew to kind of help that offense, and again, Alan Artemides has done a really good job building the defense up there, making them a contender. Last season, they were number one in a lot of categories in the SFL. Put a claim on trying to be the number one defense. They believe that they're the number one defense. So I have something to say about that because being a defense coordinator, but I look up to their defense. I admire it. They do a really, really good job. So I think here with their final pick in this supplemental draft, we'll just go ahead and kick it to the commissioner and we'll see where they went.
With the 120th pick in the SFL's Season 15 rookie draft, the Charleston Predators select Tommy Zanardi, linebacker, San Diego, California. Chicago's on the clock with 121.
Not really like Tommy. Tommy was a guy that I had talked to a few times. A little unfortunate that Charleston got to him before us. I think he was one of the guys that we were looking at. But Jeff, do you have any experience in scouting Tommy Zanardi? What's your take on this pick for Charleston?
Yeah, we reached out to him a couple times. Really good guy. Just didn't want to play any of the positions we were looking at, but that's going to happen. We don't want to fit a square peg into a circle hole. So if we know that somebody does it, is it going to be interested in playing what we have open? Then it just wasn't a fit. And here he gets to be a linebacker for Charleston, and he gets to play behind Jack Brown and Jack Hoffman. So it's going to be interesting to see what Charleston decides to do. They only have a defensive end and a defensive tackle, and along with the two offensive linemen. It's going to be interesting to see what Charleston does come week one.
Look at that guy. Look at him. He's the cleanest guy in the SFL, Mr. Shanvarna.
Always cleans up nicely. I think he changed shirts from earlier, if I remember right. I think he was wearing a collared shirt earlier, but it's up to Shan. I mean, he's got the new Sector 6 store open. He's just showing off all the fantastic Chicago Wildcats gear. I know he's excited to have his store open and able to get gear out to his team and fan base. The Wildcats are on the clock, and let's go with Jacob. Where do you see Chicago possibly looking with their final pick in the supplemental draft?
The offensive linemen are definitely key. In this, in my game plan, I didn't pick any, but I can see Chicago just going with a offensive lineman who, to help their running game and their quarterback. Seamless plug for somebody, Chicago. If you haven't found your offensive lineman, give Chris Henry a quick phone call.
He was selected already.
Wasn't he? I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was in the 6th round.
That's right. My bad. I was already working with other people. Then Dalvin King. Let's give Dalvin King.
Yeah, I like Dalvin King. I've talked to Jay Moss a few times.
Yes, Jay Moss too.
Maybe not necessarily an offensive lineman, but Jay Moss is a guy that I've had a few conversations with. I haven't heard Digger Graves' name called. I did miss round 6, but I haven't heard his name called. A great guy that I liked. Gary Clem was another guy that I had good conversations with. So those are names. If owners are kind of down and looking maybe for another guy to contact, these are definitely guys that are available. We'll answer. Whenever I've contacted them, they were pretty much right away. They're ready. They're eager to get drafted and get out on the field.
Yeah, the thing with Digger Graves as well, I know him from other leagues as well. So he's a really good guy. He is currently serving right now, so he's in Afghanistan. So I know the timing is off a little bit, but he like Steven said, he'll always get back to you 100% of the time. So that is someone that you might want to think about if you're looking for somebody.
I got to say, Stephen, I have a feeling that Chicago might go for a defensive end here. I'm just looking at their roster, and I think that's probably where Chicago want to go.
Defensive end would be a nice look. I'm scrolling through here, and I would love to see. I'm looking over in the YouTube chat, and I see Cameron Curtis, I see Poe Politikin, Veridin Zarkov. I see Bryant Dynasty, Charleston Predators, Harish Prasad. If you guys want to champion somebody, there are owners and GMs out there in the chat watching. If there's somebody that you think is worthy of a spot, don't be afraid to give your friend a plug and let these owners know that these guys are worth looking at. It could lead you somewhere. If you're on a team, if you've already been picked and your owner is not talking or not necessarily out there picking somebody, just say, hey guys, look, I've had a great experience in the minor leagues. These guys are really active. Give an honest recommendation to help your team out, because those are the kinds of moves that put you in a position and earn the trust with your team. Colin, under a minute left for Chicago. We're talking defensive line, defensive end. Do you see something different for the Wildcats?
No, I see pretty much the same thing. Or offensive line, like people talked about. Those are probably the 2 areas that they're focused on. They have more Rivers at defensive end, so they already drafted a tackle, so it would make sense if they were to go front 7.
Or having a tight end behind Shane Varner. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. We heard Eddie trying to throw that one out here in the 6th round. So maybe getting somebody to back up behind Shane Varner. I know only a couple teams like to use the 2 tight ends, but with the 1 offensive line, if they're not going to go offensive line here, why not go another tight end? If you're not going to go with the defensive end, if you haven't found somebody that could come in and do that, or Shan just doesn't want to have a 4-man front 4, then why not have a second tight end? Or I mean, they could even go 4 wide receivers if they really want to air this one out.
Because I was actually going back in time. I was thinking back in season 13 when Chicago ran a lot of like power I, and that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, what if they do get that second tight end, and then they just employ Ash Odom in that power I that he really became a premier back in this league using, is that power I formation. And so maybe if Chicago picks up that, and then that would be a great matchup between Portland and Chicago, right? The front 7, just let that battle happen. Yeah.
Hey, or against anybody going up against Queen City with the 4 offensive linemen.
Yeah, and Queen City, yeah, that's another tough battle in the trenches. So it's got to be something that these teams got to look at. And we're waiting on the pick. The it's in. We're just waiting for the graphic. The time is there. So we're just waiting. There's been a little bit of a hiccup, so we're waiting for the change. But let's try to get some more rookies called out. I had contacts. Rolger Law, he was a safety in the minors, played well, and in the conversations I had with him was nice. We didn't get in depth, but was somebody that I would say is worth reaching out to.
The chat seems to be pointing out Mustafa Camus is another guy.
Yeah, defensive lineman, I believe Camus was.
Yes, DT.
Yeah, another good option
Definitely
there.
a phenomenal guy. You know, here in Portland, we had multiple talks with him, and definitely a DT that would quarterback cringe.
I see J. Ray Bay saying this is cool. J. Ray Bay, if you're new and you don't know what you're looking at, we are the Simulation Football League, and we are a controllerless esport. We're the first controllerless esport where we take the controller out of your hands and we put you on the field. If you're interested, you can check out our website, simulationfl.net. There's a link to our Discord there. You can join our community, and there will be openings and stuff that may happen later on in the season. We have a minor league that you can get involved in. We are a great community, super welcoming. We want everybody to be in here and have a great time. I think that's it's a great environment for anybody that loves football, that loves to be a part of something bigger than themselves. So again, J. Ray Bay, if this is your first time in here, man, go check us out. Get involved in our community. And the pick is in. Chicago Wildcats have selected their pick. Commissioner Cameron Irvine.
With the 121st pick in the SFL's Season 15 rookie draft, the Chicago Wildcats select Buggy Mosley, defensive end, Morristown, New Jersey. Denver's on the clock with 122nd.
Buggy Mosley, great pick for Chicago there. Jeff, let's hear, man. Let's get a breakdown on the defensive line for Chicago.
All right, yeah, Buggy Mosley is going to have a solid career with the Chicago Wildcats. Pulling up right now, but anybody that you could put in with Mark Rivers, former #1 pick for St. Louis, Gerald Giudice, and now Danny Stinson. This rookie is going to have something to fill he's going to have some real guys to learn from. So this is going to be awesome. And he's a defensive end. He played for the Boise Mug Dogs. So, I mean, he's going to come in. He knows what he's doing, and Shan's done his work, and it's going to pay off. Bugsy Mosley, man, he's going to be a good guy.
Liam, give us a recap of this Chicago pick.
Yeah, it's a good pick. It is a defensive end, as I said it would be. Just call me the prediction daddy. Buggy Mosley has previous in Chicago, season 14 non-contract, as is being pointed out in the chat. I'm reliably informed by Shan Varner that he's very happy with this pick, as he has been with his picks in the supplemental draft this season. And they got someone they know a little bit about, and they've got another defensive end. So they got a stout defensive line, it's a good pick for Chicago this late in the draft.
And just for some numbers on Buggy, he played 9 games in the minors with 2.5 sacks and 5 tackles for a loss. Good showing there in the minors. Good potential, I believe, for Chicago to build something there. As you get a look inside of Denver's war room, GM Kramer Jackman, Denver's got the 122nd pick. And again, everybody's selecting here tonight. This is their final pick of the supplemental draft. And as we look through the roster for Denver, let's go with Jacob, former coach for Denver. What do you think Denver might do here?
I know Jeremy fairly well. I know this whole offseason he's been talking about an O-line, and even more O-line. I think Jeremy's going to stick true to it and go with the and just because he's been talking about it. He got a fullback last round, to help Jared. And how else are you going to help the J train by one more weapon for him there on the offensive line?
Controlling the gaps is going to be a big thing, I think, for Denver. Colin, what do you think, Denver? You think that Vega being so loud and about being an offensive lineman guy. Do you think he goes offensive lineman here? Do you think he maybe shakes up the tree and surprises?
He could go offensive line. I mean, he already drafted D'Amico Ryans as an offensive lineman, but fullback too. Fullback too is a possibility, as well. It also serves the same purpose, helping to clear the way for McChesney and another pass target for Josh Miller.
And Liam, offensive lineman. What do you think Denver's going to go offensive lineman here? I mean, again, we've all heard Jeremy's been a big champion of he wants 5 offensive linemen if he can get it. So is that what he's going to try to build here?
Yeah, seems like a definite possibility. We're seeing some teams make big investments on the offensive line as a counter to high-powered D-line play. Queen City, with big investment in offensive line. So yeah, I don't expect the Nightwings to be any different. Jeremy tends to be ahead of the curve a bit when it comes to these sorts of things. So yeah, certainly, I think the offensive line position is probably going to be the focus here. But it's not a done deal until the pick's in and Cam's saying the player's name. So yeah, be interesting to see what happens.
The pick is in, and at number 122, we'll kick it over to Commissioner Cameron Irvine.
With the 122nd pick of the SFL's Season 15 rookie draft, the Denver Nightwings select Michael Rochester, defensive end, Belton, South Carolina. Houston is on the clock with 123.
And Michael Rochester, congratulations, going to Denver. A little bit of a shock. Everybody was maybe thinking offensive lineman, but looking at their roster definitely helps them to have that defensive end there. Good pickup for their final pick in the supplemental draft. Jeff, break this one down for us.
Yeah, Michael Rochester, what a good pick here this late in the draft in round 7. This is somebody that we in Louisiana were targeting as well. So I know that he is, I believe, cousins with Juice, who was drafted to Denver as well. That's D'Amico Ryans. So it looks like both of them get to partner up together, one on the offensive side, one on the defensive side. So it looks like everything came together for him. I know D'Amico, when we were having talks, he was really pushing for somebody to reach out to Michael Rochester because he hasn't been. He's one of those shy type of guys. He's not one to go and reach out to other teams as much. So the fact that Denver and Jeremy picked him up here in the 7th round, this is a great pick for Denver. I really like this one.
Yeah, and I want to kind of highlight something that I look for on why I like to go after friends of friends or cousins or brothers that might have joined the league. I think it's because it establishes a sense of accountability among your franchise, right, guys? I mean, it's one of those things that a player may come in here and they have no idea who I am, right? And so they may view me as bugging them. Hey, why aren't you get your check in? Can you talk to me, kind of thing? Where if you have that friend that's kind of saying, hey, guy, we're on a team. Let's do this together, right? Now you have that level of camaraderie and you have that level of accountability that may not be there otherwise. And so that's something that I take into consideration heavily. Is how a prospect or how a player is gonna get along with my team, and then how are they going to be a leader? Are they going to help push the culture and establish a winning culture with us, or are they just going to kind of be hard to reach and this is kind of a fun thing? So we all kind of got to, I don't want to say self-police, but if we all kind of hold each other accountable, we can become a better unit. And I think Colin, if you could highlight anything on that or add anything to why camaraderie and accountability is so important to building a team.
Well, it is important from the standpoint of, uh, you're all together for basically not even just the entirety of the regular season, but all through the offseason once you add guys to free agency and the draft. So, it's kind of like one big family, and you all kind of have to get along at some point. And, you know, you have to make sure that people are nice to each other, get along, and if there's some familial relationships that are already there among some of your players, therefore it's easier to foster a bond between teammates.
Right, right. Because we're going to spend 12 weeks, basically 6 months. We're going to spend together, and it's really important that we all have a basic level of respect, and that we all want to come in here and do what's right for our teammates. Liam, do you have anything you want to contribute to building a team and accountability?
Um, Accountability. Yeah, I mean it's. I mean, I think it's very much down to everybody plays their part. In terms of players themselves, it's a very small thing to do a check in, to do a progression, and then you move to as you go further steps up the ladder. Obviously, you have your coaches and all your owners, and I mean, there's as I'm sure you're aware, being a new owner, there's a ton of stuff that you don't realize until you actually get into the job. It's
Mm-hmm.
just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And same with Jacob, and Jeff obviously does a lot in terms of recruitment um, and outreach, same as Tanner does for us in London. So every single part of the team has to be performing efficiently in order to get results. And if you are if a player misses a progression, it impacts the team as a whole, and you don't want that to happen. So I think even in these later rounds, personality plays a big part. And you're going to want to get a guy in who's going to be someone who's enthusiastic and is going to make their check-ins on time. And that's really all what it boils down to. We in London have a sort of code that we all follow, and with the teams getting larger and larger, there's more people to keep track of. So having accountability is really starting to get even more important in this time in the SFL. So
Jeff, so Louisiana, you guys, what's your take on building a team and accountability? You have anything you guys want to add to that? We've hit just about everybody on the panel. We got about a
Yeah.
minute.
I mean, it's going to be harder and harder each and every season as the rosters get to grow. So it's always going to be the active ones are going to stay. It's like survival of the activity, I guess you can say, because everybody, if the more that you can bring to the team, to the league, the more that teams are going to value that. So that's one of the things. I mean, there's nothing wrong with just being a player, but on top of that, you have to have the activity as well, to show that you're actually going to stick it out. You're not just going to get you're drafted and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now he's not
Disappeared.
progressing week one or after week one, and he's like, what's going on here? So that's just going to be it's just going to make it that much more harder for teams to find the right guys, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun challenge as the league continues to grow. And next year, who knows? This minor league could be a whole new thing come next year. I mean, probably not to the fact of having each team having their own minor league team, but from 8, I wouldn't. I think 8 is good, but everybody wants more. So I wouldn't see it going surpassing 10 teams next year.
Oh, we're already up to 12, I believe. I believe it was in
12.
the SFL and championship. It was up to
Okay.
4 teams. So we were going to have 4 new teams in the minor leagues announced. I
Yeah.
believe the cities have already been selected, but just a release has not happened yet. So a little bit of a surprise there for you guys. But I guess the locations have been selected. But everybody should know that the minor leagues is going to expand to 12 teams next season. Houston has their pick in, so we're going to go over to Commissioner Cameron Irvine.
With the 123rd pick in the SFL's Season 15 rookie draft, the Houston Hyenas select Leo Jefferson, offensive line, Brooklyn, New York. Louisiana is on the clock with pick 124.
So Houston gets an offensive lineman, Leo Jefferson. And let's go with Jacob Bouvette. Break this one down.
Leo Jefferson, I was talking to him for one of my picks, and he had to go a different route than what I wanted to. But great guy, great pickup. Just knocked it out of the park with this one.
Yeah, and Houston, in the 6th round of this supplemental draft, went with the kicker. Now have an offensive lineman. I think that's really going to help them out with Kentez Johnson. They've got Warren Murray. They really like to get Warren Murray going, but for whatever reason, he's so injury prone. But whenever he's clicking, Warren Murray is a great back, fantastic back. And I think adding a kicker to that mix is only going to help them score points and be really competitive in games. Houston's been on a little bit of a slide, kind of up and down, made the playoffs a couple of seasons ago. But in my offseason talks with Damond, he says he's really, really eager to get this team back to its playoff pedigree and get them back where he feels like they should be. Colin, how do you see this offensive lineman helping Houston make that playoff push?
Well, I think it'll help them a lot because now you have guys up front, and it'll clear holes for Warren Murray, protect for Kentez Johnson. It'll be interesting to see where they put Leo, whether at the blindside tackle or one of the interior guards. It'll be interesting.
Liam, offensive lineman to Houston.
Yeah, they're definitely the in vogue position at the moment in the SFL. Could very well be seeing Louisiana go with another offensive lineman at this stage. I just don't personally see the value necessarily of putting value in the offensive line. I think probably what I would say though is if you've got not a lot of value to sort of spread around, if you're getting a skill position like a running back, it's probably not going to benefit you to stick a copper running back in play. But if you're drafting an offensive lineman, worse off from drafting someone in these rounds of the draft than you would be, picking them in the first round. Okay, you get more value, but at this point, if you're drafting an offensive lineman, it's not a particularly appealing position for players themselves. Obviously, you need someone from a personality standpoint who really gets what they're contributing from a team point of view. But you can just develop, just take the season to develop a player, give it a few seasons, and eventually they'll be up to speed. So, it'd be interesting to see what Louisiana does here. But Andy is upset by.
Well, you talked
by my
about his
comment,
favorite position, the offensive lineman. But the pick is in. The pick is in.
Yeah.
Let's let Caleb. We'll let you have your spat with Andy in a second. Commissioner Cameron Irvine with the 124 pick.
Children with the 124th pick in the season 15 SFL rookie draft, the Louisiana Revolution select Rudy Ray Dunn, offensive line. Mexico City's on the clock with the 125th pick.
Jeff, you're happy. Tell us how. Tell us how you feel about this pick.
We got the hometown kid coming to Louisiana. We only had Gerald and Blake from Louisiana here. Now, this was one that came about the start of this week, actually. Again, Ross has done his homework. He's probably contacted so many rookies that I probably have not even heard of. So the fact that as soon as he came in, we knew that we were going to get somebody good. Everything that we heard about him, every conversations that we've had, he is so stoked to be here in Louisiana. He's from Baton Rouge. So the fact that he's going to be staying close and he's not going to go anywhere else is a good thing for us. Plus the fact that while he's going to be the O-line for us, I mean, there's nothing wrong with if there's something else he wants to move to down the line, there's also that as well. But outside of right now, we got another guy on the offensive line that's going to take some heat off of Johnny as well and take some of the pressure and hold up to some of the defensive linemen that are going to be coming our way.
We're nearing the midpoint of this final round of the supplemental draft, and I want to let owners and GMs know, hey, you should be reaching out to these prospects, but I also want to let the prospects know you need to be reaching out to the GMs and owners. And if you're a little confused on where you stand right now, I'm going to break it down for you. Players can be taken at any position in the supplemental draft. If a player is taken at any position other than the position they played in the SFLM, every successful progression in the SFL banks value to their previous SFLM position, which they could sign at as a free agent next offseason, or choose to resign at the position they were taken at in the supplemental draft. All undrafted players can return to the minor league for another season. All drafted players, regardless of position, will not be able to return to the SFLM. So if you guys are eager to get on the field, just know that you have options, that if you take a position outside of your SFLM primary, you are able to bank progression and continue that position next season. So keep that in mind, that if you are going to sign in a supplemental, keep in mind what position you're signing at. Understand your options as a player, and in talking with GMs and owners, that can help you find your spot. So you understanding what your options are help you find your best path. Colin, Mexico City's on the clock. Why don't you give us some of your thoughts about where they may possibly go?
Well, they already picked a fullback, so they possibly could go offensive line. We've seen that be the trend as teams start to beef up their front seven as the pick is in. So I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, kick it over to Cameron for me, Colin.
With the 125th pick in the SFL Season 15 rookie draft. What did you say, Steven?
I said kick it over to Cam for me, Colin, then you cut him off.
All right, fine. With the 125th pick in the SFL Season 15 rookie draft, the Mexico City Aztecs select Ace Booth, wide receiver, Carolina, on the clock with the 126th pick.
Very nice to see it. I kind of said that in the 6th round that I thought they might be looking for that wide receiver, that kick return specialist, the guy to come out of the slot for him, and Mexico City gets it here. Liam, how do you feel about Mexico City getting a slot receiver and kick returner? Well, I don't want to assume that he's a kick returner. Jeffrey Daggs has returned kicks. I apologize there.
I'm glad they didn't pick an offensive lineman. Okay. Wide receiver is a good pick at this point in the draft, and I think they got a good one here. But just to clarify, offensive lineman is not a bad position. What my point is that I personally do not necessarily see the value in putting my cap space into offensive lineman. We'll probably get an offensive lineman at some point as the Knights. I mean, if our offense completely collapses this season, then fair enough. But it's just one position, and team owners are balancing different commitments and stuff like that. So all power to the teams who do invest in the offensive line. It's definitely going to help you seasons down the line when you are bringing in guys who have been playing that position for a few seasons, and that you have the skill in those spots. But going back to specifically Mexico City here, this is a good addition to their offense. They've got two big famous names in KL Barrett and the walk-off man. The guy who catches Hail Marys for practice is Richard Montague. Miracle Montague.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's a really good pick. You got someone who's joining a real all-star cast there. But the thing which stands out to me as well there, that's another offense with the 2 tight ends, the 3 wide receivers, and wow, just look at that beard. I never insulted that beard at all. It's probably one of the most impressive in the league.
Definitely.
He's got the Bryant Dynasty video going in the background too.
Yeah, so where Harish is missing up on top, and Dynasty's got the top, Dynasty doesn't got the beard, so I think Harish is looking at the hair, wanting some of that maybe to grow up on top, I guess. But Jeff, we got your pick, and I didn't see if there was any prospects or players out there that you wanted to maybe pitch to other owners and GMs. If you had anybody that you were championing for, this would be the time.
Zach Blais still out there. I know Eddie's been high on him as well. He's a Chicago guy, so we'd always like to see the Chicago guys go out there and get drafted onto teams and represent Illinois well. So that's one. There's so many rookies that I've talked to. My head is just spinning. I can't wait until get some downtime. But I mean, still, the fact that Kevin Say is still out here. I don't know if there's something that maybe teams have picked up on that maybe other teams haven't, but the fact that he's still out there, who else? I mean, Alex Daniel, the tight end from Annapolis, is still out there, who had a pretty good season as well. I mean, there's just so many. There's just so many guys to go through that. I mean, even Julian Valera is still out there from Madison, the strong safety. So there's guys here with value. It's up to these teams to find out if they could get that value or not.
Great job getting out there. And I love looking at Harish's monitor there because it's just like the draft top 10 moments just there waiting for us to view.
That was an extremely
now he's got.
That was an extremely disappointing chug. I mean, let's be honest. I could probably go and,
I thought
crack beer
Harish.
open now. And
I thought Harish was gonna just chug the rest of that, like just down it all, and instead he stops like halfway through. Come on, man, you're from Carolina.
Jacob, Carolina is on the clock, and minute 10 left. Where might Carolina go with their final pick in the supplemental draft?
I'm gonna. They have a lot of weapons. Line definitely seems the way to go. I'm gonna do a plug for somebody that I don't think we've heard from, which is Garrison Blue Jr. He's another guy that's still out there that probably he's slotted as like a wide receiver. So why not add another wide receiver to the arsenal?
Good.
One guy I wanted to give a shout out to, Steven, really quick before we go any further is Riley Quintero from the Birmingham Fuel. We had extensive discussions, and Andrew, our GM, talked with him a lot, and Dwayne in particular was high on him. It's just we didn't end up getting to him. So if some team is willing to take a flyer on Riley Quintero, please do.
Good. I love all the last minute bids, trying to help teams make sure that they're doing their due diligence, turning over every stone. I know that's something here at Fort Worth that my GM probably hates to hear, especially now publicly, but no stone unturned. We do not turn down any option, even if it leads to a dead end. You have to go down that road. You have to go and you have to explore all your options. And so here's other owners and GMs saying, hey, I've done a little bit of the legwork. These guys are worth talking to. They've done a big part of the battle for you. Now you just got to go out and secure the prospects. And getting close now to Carolina. Liam, any last second thoughts on maybe where Carolina might go here before we get the pick? No, we just got the pick. I just heard the alert. I'm sorry, Liam. Didn't mean to cut you off there, but the pick is in for Carolina. We're going to go to Commissioner Cameron Irvine.
With the 126th pick in the SFL's Season 15 rookie draft, the Carolina Skyhawks select Sam Avalos, wide receiver. Arizona's on the clock with the 127th pick.
I think Carolina has to feel really excited about Sam Avalos. I haven't really talked to him a whole lot, but I know that he's a good guy. I've heard his work, and I know that Carolina is thrilled to have him on their squad. I wish we could get an interview with Harish so that he could really, really hammer in how good of a guy Sam is. But let's talk to Jeff. Jeff, this wide receiver for Carolina, how do you see them using him this season?
Oh man, this is going to be somebody that they're going to work their way up on him. That he's going to come in fourth receiver behind Heath McDaniel Jr., Harish, of course, and Shea Carroll. So the formidable receiving core just adds another dominant weapon to it. Avalos is going to come in. He's going to be getting some of the going to ask to be doing some of the receiving work as well. But it's going to be interesting to see who they're going to decide to put at kick returner. I know Harish is the kick returner there, but as we all know, the third receiver gets the kick return specialist animation as well. So it's going to be interesting. Does Harish still want to do that, or is now the time where he's like, all right, well, we got some other guys in here. You could with the fourth receiver, you can make them maybe a little bit more quick, but then you lose out on some of the other attributes where you put it. But I mean, still, nonetheless, I mean, they could go a bunch of different ways with the build for this for Sam Avolis, and it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do because Sully Richardson does need some help after last season. There was just some games that even some that I called where it was kind of befuddling what was going on with that offense. So the more weapons, the better in my book.
Absolutely. Jacob Bouvet, let's get your thoughts on this wide receiver going to Carolina.
No, it's definitely a great pick. Like I said, before their was in, I said that they were going to go wide receiver. I just didn't know which one. So, Sully has massive amounts of weapons now, and welcome to the SFL.
Absolutely. And Sam has done really great work, with his on his radio station, and he's a local guy there out in North Carolina. So I know Carolina is extremely happy that they have him on their team, a hometown guy that's committed and going to help push their brand forward. We got Arizona. Go ahead, fill in.
Yeah, I mean, it just looking at chat right now, Harish did say that he's not doing kick returns this season, so it's going to be interesting. Do they want to use Sam in that spot, or are they going to use Heath in that spot? This is going to be something to watch going forward.
Great point, Jeff. Thank you for keeping an eye on the chat. Let's see. We've got Arizona on the clock, number 127, 2:45 remaining. And Liam, we've been pretty familiar with Eddie Gage on the panel, so why don't I kick it to you first? Give us your thoughts on the Scorpions' last pick here in the supplemental.
I think Arizona have, Eddie keeps his cards close to his chest on stuff like this, but I think they're pretty much set on offense. He's a big defensive guy. He's probably one of the premier defensive coordinators in the SFL. One thing I probably would say, I think Aaron Rodgers, Brady Quinn, Randy Moss before him, CJ Arthur is maybe getting a little bit heated in the green room. Probably expected to be picked by this point, but just keep your chin up. It's these things happen. You just gotta focus, and you still got all those check-ins. You just gotta go back, have a think about it. Consider what maybe went wrong this time. Just keep your chin up. You'll be fine. But yeah, don't get too frustrated. The owners are always keeping an eye out for guys in season to come in and replace people. So just opportunity knocks, one door closes and another door opens. So
Yeah, I think it's a great life lesson that you can learn. I like to think of myself that I've worked so hard and I put a lot of effort in, and that I try to embody what this league wants, right? And so whenever I was joined as a rookie, we were on a different system. It was all about chat rank and stuff, but it was like you had to be in the chat 24/7, all day, every day. And like in my mind, I was like, well, I'm a quarterback. And so you can still become a superstar. Even if you don't get the position that you think you want, there is value in this league. There is something in this league. If you care about football, if you care about sim football, building a team, building a strategy, scouting, there's so many things that you can do. So it's really about finding your passion and then finding that fit, because that's what's going to happen is that, maybe the first go around, a coach or a GM, they learned their lesson. Maybe they overlooked, maybe they misinterpreted something and they overlooked you. Well, they're going to learn their lessons, right? So just like you want a second chance, some owners and GMs and coaches, we make mistakes too. And so we're always looking to correct our mistakes, to become better. And so if you're willing to give us a chance, we're trying to give you a chance too. Just understand that we've got a lot of processing to do, how many rookies and free agents and stuff. And Liam said it too, new owners, we got to pick up on a system where we were GMs at one point or head coaches, and now we're dealing with a whole other set of rules and things that we got to attend to. So just keep that in mind. We all love this league. We're all passionate about it. But sometimes we just got to do our due diligence, and mistakes happen. Sometimes you get overlooked, but that's not a reason to give up. That's a reason to work harder. Jeff, you wanna add anything here before we get the Scorpions pick in?
Yeah, I mean, well said by Liam and by you, Steven. It just touches on the fact that these teams, they have the front office staff that, if they're well run, that the GMs, the assistant GMs, the owner, they will touch base with close to almost everybody. They're not going to get to everyone, but they're almost going to get there. So it's there are sometimes, like Steven said, where things just don't fall through for you. But that's no reason to give up. I mean, I don't like people that give up. I want to see you come out and be even better the next time around. But the same thing that CJ is still here. There is a question about why he's still here. Obviously, teams have had 6 rounds now to try to figure out who they want, and I know the pick is in. But there is something that maybe teams are getting up on. The same with Kevin Say. There has to be something as to why they're still here.
Yeah, and some of that could be the player. Some, and I hate to say put that back on the player. That's not what I'm trying to do. But if a player has communicated that they're interested in remaining in the minors, then some owners may say, okay, fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But with that, the pick is in. Arizona has made their selection. Commissioner Cameron Irvine.
With the 127th pick in the SFL's Season 15 rookie draft, the Arizona Scorpions select Nick LaSala, fullback. Fort Worth's on the clock with a 128th pick. Good luck, Hacker.
Yes, sir. Fullback's going to help out DJ Moses III there in the backfield for Arizona. We got our GMs making the picks. They're super excited to have the opportunity. So again, I'm on this call. I'm not looking at my direct messages. I'm on busy. So if you are looking to be drafted by the Toros, Jason Williams, Robert Garrett Jr., those are the guys to contact right now. So with that being said, you've got about 4.5 minutes to get that done. But we're looking for some positions. So again, talk to our GMs, talk to our vice president of player development, and they'll let you know where we're looking. Let's go with
Steven.
Colin. Sure.
Steven, real quick. GDAP TV said he wants to join the league. You could go to simulationfl.net. You'll get all the information there. Also, I know that probably Ashley Jackson or one of the moderators can drop a link probably in there for you where you could join the Discord and get set up.
Yeah, it's a great time. You're joining at a fantastic time. We're just less than a month away from the beginning of season 15. Season 15 kicks off on July 17th, a Friday. So it's great action. We're getting really close. So get in now, get familiar with the system. But yeah, let's go. But I was going to kick it to Colin. Colin, what do you think Fort Worth might be trying to attack? What do you think they might pick?
I don't know. You guys have a kicker. You have a fullback, and your offense is pretty well fleshed out. I'd imagine you're probably. Let me look at the numbers here as far as the sheet goes. You could. You did pick a third linebacker, correct?
Yes, sir.
Maybe a punter. We haven't seen a punter go yet. So I didn't know the primary SFL and punter Cameron Collier did end up going to Lone Star as a different position. So
And Marcus Agrippa last season, man, those coffin corner punts that he had, for a guy that loves defense, I like it. I honestly, Colin, I like it. I like it. Liam, you look pretty tired over there. I know it's really late at night for you there, but you got anything? I know. Who are you looking at, Liam? Because I know I took 2 of your guys in this draft. So who was it? Who was it that you want? Because that's probably who we're going to take.
Man, I think it's probably, but we already had all our picks, so that'd probably be quite impressive. But I was thinking maybe wide receiver would be. I mean, I could go through and get all of your needs out on a tray, but I think I'm going to pass that by. Wide receiver would be the interesting pick, or a punter. Possibility is there of it being a punter, but I would probably say I like punters more than offensive linemen, and I'm not doing it just for snark now.
Oh, you're trying to irritate Andy. You're trying to get Andy to type in all caps. I can hear him typing. I can hear him.
Oh, I did too.
All the way over in Florida.
A punter gives me something substantive, like better field position. Like I think punter is a great spot. So I would not like. I mean, Mighty has had a punter in Marcus Agrippa who helped us win the All Star game. So I think he would be great. A style of punter like his on any team would be an absolute asset. So it's going to be interesting to see what he's go with here, Stephen. But I'm sure it's going to be a nice pick regardless.
We will see. The pick is in. Commissioner Cameron Irvine.
With the 128th pick in the SFL's Season 15 rookie draft, the Fort Worth Toros select Mufasa Kamau, defensive tackle, Honolulu, Hawaii. Vancouver's on the clock.
And that was what we wanted. We wanted to shore up that defensive line. That's a huge thing for us. If you paid attention to anything Nacho and I did at Queen City, we like to create pressure with our defensive ends. We want the sacks. We think that the sacks help our coverage, right? So we're going to do our best to get our defensive ends coverage sacks, but we also want to have beast on the edge and get upfield and get after the quarterback. So Jacob, if you don't mind, let's talk about this defensive end pick. Break it down real quick.
And Mufasa, he was definitely on one of our boards, for our defense. So congratulations and phenomenal pick. I was thinking you were going to go wide receiver also, but that defense, us younger people, younger coaches in this league can definitely see where that D line will help you win games. And great job.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely something that I think a lot of young defensive coordinators like to do. They like the comfort of that defense, being able to keep their team in the game, right? As some teams look to try to work through their offensive scheme, that they're looking to implement something, and sometimes it takes time to develop. And so having that benefit of a strong defense to kind of pull your offense through sometimes is a really great thing. It gives you just that extra little bit of flexibility. And then when your offense is in rhythm, your defense is just firing on all cylinders, and you're a tough team to beat. Colin. No, I haven't talked to Jeff. Jeff, let's talk about this Fort Worth pick at defensive tackle.
Yeah, this is a great pick. After looking at his stats, I kind of slept on me a little bit. I don't think I've called it Albuquerque Adams game, but dude, I mean, he had 2 sacks in week 4, was it, against San Jose? So I mean, he had 5 sacks on the season, had a lot more tackles than that, and tackles for loss. He was a killer with the tackles for loss. So this looks like somebody that even while being at just the regular, just base player, and he was still making plays, you get some value on that as well. So now it looks like you guys found a steal here in the 7th round.
And so 129, Vancouver is on the clock. Liam, I'm going to give you a chance, but I'm going to start with Colin. Colin, where might Vancouver go here?
Well, looking at Vancouver, and they could go fullback. They have 3 wide receivers. Kicker is a hole, though. They are missing a kicker, and I know Andy does appreciate a good kicker, so I wouldn't be surprised if he went kicker here.
And I think that might be a good point, Colin, because Andy's offense last season really seemed like they took that next step. Looked like they evolved, leveled up, so to speak. And I think being able, like I said, being able to get that 3, 6, 9 points every game just really helps your team be that much tougher to beat. Now, Liam, you and Andy been going back and forth a little bit in the chat about offensive linemen. You think he might go offensive lineman despite you here? What do you think?
Andy is making the face that I would expect when I say I am not a big fan of offensive linemen, without understanding that I am saying I do not dislike offensive linemen. I just would not have one myself. Putting value on the defense. I mean, whatever, it's past the point. But Collins makes a good point, actually. Like, I wouldn't, like, kicker is arguably more valuable than an offensive lineman. Like,
I would not disagree, man.
It's a key position. Kicker is a huge position. Yeah. So, I mean, I would be surprised if they didn't go with one. We tried that for a couple of seasons, and Max Paul will never let me forget it. So we'll see what they do, but I think it'd be an O lineman or a kicker. Or they
I'll
could
let you in
go.
on the.
Yeah, they
I'll
could
let
go
you in on
with
a little
the
thing about
real
Taco.
surprise. They go with the real surprise and go with punter.
Punter would be that might happen. And in the off season coming in, Taco Sicario is a friend of mine, and whenever we were convincing him to join the league, he was like, "What do I want to play? What do I do?" Trying to just tell him how great this thing was, right? And he was just like, "What do I play?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. What are you passionate about?" And he's just like, "Well, he's like, I want to be unique." And I was like, "Kicker, right away." I mean, it was immediate answer for me. Like, if you want to have like a special looking player, a special guy out there, and then just like the following that the kickers in this league get is ridiculous. Like the kickers are like some of the most popular people in this league, but you have to commit to that position. It has to be something that you're passionate about. So even with fullbacks and offensive linemen, positions that aren't sexy, there's a following for these positions, and you'll find that guys like Liam don't value it so much, but guys like Fort Worth and Denver and others do. So it's all about finding what you want to be. And whenever we kind of talk about kicker with Taco, he watched Kramer Jackman, and then boom, and the rest is history. Albuquerque Adams, 5'8", 360 kicker. I mean, dude's a brick house, at kicker. But it's just perfect, and we support that. We love that, that unique personality.
Steven, did you show Taco the game where Kramer Jackman kicked for 6 for 6, and is how you got him to be convinced to be a kicker?
Actually,
The game
one of the
that
ways
Kramer won.
That wasn't the one. The one that actually got Taco committed was James Troll, no face mask. Peanuts. Peanuts got he was like, I want to wear no face mask. I'm like, bro, there's a story behind that, and that's for later on down the road. But that again, that's kind of what got him in. He saw that Kramer Jackman had a following. He liked the Peanuts. Again, when Nacho and I were with Queen City, he'd check in, watch some of our games with us, and he loved the following that Peanuts got. He loved that people really rallied behind kickers. Vancouver has made their selection. The 129th pick is in. Cameron Irvine, the commissioner.
I have a message for Liam. Let it go.
God, this can only end
Let
badly.
it go. With the 129th pick of the SFL Season 15 rookie draft, the Vancouver Legion select James Walters, tight end. Baltimore's on the clock with the 130th pick.
Okay, tight end. Jacob Bouvette, let's hear it for Vancouver.
And that's just it's definitely not a O-line like what Liam was possibly thinking, and or a punter, but it's another weapon for Captain Canada. The more weapons you can give him, the better that Vancouver team is going to be.
I think I would agree. Let's hear from Jeff Milition. What are your thoughts on this pick for Vancouver?
Yeah, Andy kept saying in chat, and he kept saying it last night. He doesn't need a kicker if he gets into the end zone. It looks like with this one that he really wants to get this run game and get Robert Redford into the end zone, so he doesn't have to look silly when he's missing kicks from 30 to 40 to 50 yards out. But it's going to be kind of befuddling to some people. But I mean, some guys do this where they don't want a kicker. They don't value that yet, or they don't value that as much as getting into the end zone because 6 is greater than 3. But at the same time, the only thing for me is Walters over somebody like Alex Daniel or somebody who was already had a primary of a tight end. So that's the only thing for me. But I mean, it looks like he's rounding out. Andy's doing what he wants to do, and he's going to live or die with that. And I mean, even Mighty has a kicker and a punter, so he's doing something right. So Andy not having a kicker, we'll see how this one plays out for him.
That's a decision you have to make. As an owner, you have to be willing to take those kinds of remarks, right? At the end of the day, it's your decision. You're the top of the totem pole,
Yep.
And when you make that decision for your franchise, you're expected to deal with those results for the entire season. But I think that again, I think Andy's offense last season leveled up. I really thought that they looked impressive. Pseudo had a really great season now, retired he's with Lone Star and everything. So I think Andy's got another shot here, but he's retained a big chunk of his offense. Still, like Jacob said, he's got Captain Canada Tom Pepper. Still got BK12 Brett Killian out there, and And Craig Hearn, I believe, is still there. So, they're going to pick up right where they left off and just roll Redford into this thing. So if Andy's got a vision and he values the 6 points and he thinks he can get there, I love it. I think you should go for it. Give your team the position to win. Again, I like the comfort of knowing that there's some really strong defense. There's some times in this game where you think you've got the right decisions made and you stall out. Whatever the conditions may be, something happens, and it's just nice to have that fallback of a 50-yard field goal. Because that's the difference time.
Hey, Stephen, I've got a little bit to come back here
Let's
with.
hear it, Liam.
First of all, I hope James Waters is good at keeping in bounds because Kay Stevens was out.
Blandino disagrees with you.
And secondly, it's actually a good pick. I like this having the second tight end, so that is a good pick. But it has already raised the ire of our multiple championship winning head coach Mighty RX, the famous Max Paul. Kickers win championships, defense wins championships.
There it is.
I mean, Liam, he's saying in chat, did this panel not watch season 14?
Well, I mean, I did not watch it for a multitude of reasons, so I'm not even going to comment on that. But well, Andy had the chance to come on, and Cam chose someone far more attractive and British to come on board. So, that is what it is.
We're not going to hear the end of it in the owner's
No, we ain't.
We're just going to you had to poke the bear. Yeah, hearts. Yeah, right. Baltimore is on the clock. 1:45 remaining. Colin, Baltimore, what are they going to do here?
Well, they already have a kicker. I could see them going offensive line.
Baltimore's another one of those teams that, in my mind, their offense is really leveling up too. I always kind of saw them as like a ground and pound team. But the last 2 seasons, man, they've really opened up the deep passing game, and they've taken some shots downfield, and it's really opened up their offense, really made them a dangerous team. They've always been really good defensively. They've had a little bit of turnover on the defensive side of the ball. Baltimore is one of those teams that year in, year out, I fear. I think that they're a really well put together team, really well run organization. Jeff, any thoughts, comments on that?
For Baltimore, let's see, man. They got 2 tight ends already as the pick is coming in. I mean, with most of the teams outside of a couple going with offensive linemen, I wouldn't. Maybe they get on the offensive line train and take one here with their last pick.
And we will see where they go. Commissioner Cameron Irvine with the pick.
With the 130th pick in the SFL's Season 15 rookie draft, the Baltimore Vultures select Nate Brown, defensive tackle. Atlanta's on the clock at pick 131.
Defensive tackle. They've already got Tucker Lewis. They got Saron Yates IV, and they've got defensive end Chad Roll and also their GM. So Nate Brown steps into a nice front four for the Baltimore defense. Jacob Bouvette, let's hear your thought on that.
Again, defense wins championships, and to add him into that front four is going to be beast. It's Baltimore is so close this season, and I think this pick here could help push them to the edge.
Colin Northrup, let's hear your thoughts on the Baltimore Vultures pick.
Again, they go defense and just help again to that front seven. They're loading up on there, and it's going. That front seven is going to be fierce for any opposition going against it.
Yeah, they did pick up a second linebacker in the 6th round of the supplemental draft. So somebody to pair up with Joe Dazzo. Again, really strong, stout defense. Really good in coverage. Really effective. Really well-rounded defense. So a tough matchup in and every season. Liam, Baltimore adding to their front seven. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a good pick. Good pick for me. The lines have been particularly heavily selected in the supplemental win again. This is just another one for Tim and for T-Pat. So yeah, I don't think there's really much to fault here. What you're getting here in these later picks are guys that you can develop, and particularly the defensive and offensive line. I'm going to say something good about selecting offensive line is, again, you've got someone who seasons down the line is going to be your starter when you have, if the roster expands in future, you're going to have those backups there who will be able to support those guys. So it's a good pick, and Baltimore, always a competitive team. Looking forward to seeing what they can do this season.
And so now we're at pick 131. We're almost to the end of this supplemental draft. The defending champions are on the clock, and I would like to hear. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff, where might Atlanta go here?
All right, so let's see what we would have for Atlanta. They had hold on here. All right, so Atlanta, they last pick they selected Chris Henry at strong safety, so they got 2 strong safeties. Now it's going to be a little bit weird here for Atlanta. Do they want to go with what Baltimore just did and get a defensive tackle to pair on that 4 to have the 4 defensive line? We've seen a lot of teams do that with Las Vegas, who I'm looking at right now. They just have 2 defensive ends. But Atlanta Swarm, I mean, if they want to have a formidable front 4, which with Joshua Williams, I mean, that's a good starting point right there. But to add Billy Ray Valentine and then Chris Porter, they could definitely bring in a rookie right here that can learn from Josh Williams and be formidable for that defensive line. Outside of that, I mean, I don't really see much that they need to really go unless they decide, you know what, we got a Quantas Shine and Dylan Rowland, 2 really stud linebackers. Do we pair a rookie with those 2 where the rookie can just learn from them, come in at different situational spots, and then boom, they got a linebacking core that can turn into one of the best linebacking cores.
Great point. Liam, what might the defending champions do here?
I get the sense that this could be another line pick of some kind. I would not presume to tell Mark, the champion that he is, as to what he should pick, but that's the sense that I get here from Atlanta. I mean, they get 1-3-1 here, so they do what they like with it. Did anybody get that? 1-3-1. Never mind. Doesn't matter.
1-3. Oh, is that the area code? 1-3-1?
Yeah, it's 1.
I don't live in Atlanta. I don't know, man.
No, not an area code. It was a pun based.
Well,
Jeff is sufficiently bamboozled now by my comments. So
with 15 seconds left on the clock, something I thought I might think that Atlanta would do here was I was thinking maybe a 4th wide receiver. That's something that they could possibly do here. Is they added Sean Harrelson to be their slot wide receiver. But if they were able to pick up another wide receiver in the supplemental, maybe that would just be another layer for them to be able to throw the ball. Maybe go into some empty sets. I know it's kind of weird taking BDG out, but I think that could be a layer. You look to throw the ball. I know with the rookie quarterback, again, doesn't sound ideal, but give your guys some weapons and let them take some shots. Let your guy learn in place. Maybe develop a new look offense with your new look quarterback. The pick is in, Commissioner Cameron Irvine.
With the 131st pick in the SFL's Season 15 rookie draft, the Atlanta Swarm select Zane Zello, defensive tackle. Las Vegas is on the clock with the 132nd pick.
So defensive tackle, they get the 4 defensive linemen. Colin, how do you see this helping the champions?
Well, it's just the rich get richer. They have all front 4 now, and we know how lethal Josh Williams is by himself. But now he's got 3 other mates to run with him. Quarterbacks might want to duck when they play the Atlanta Swarm.
Jacob, how do you see this front 7 for the Swarm doing? this season 15.
Just like what Colin said, the rich get richer, and I was looking at him at his primary position, and had my defensive coordinator had some very extensive talks with him, and I'm just happy that he found a home, and finding a home with the defending champs is a place to call in Atlanta. So congratulations. And if I can give just some shout outs to guys and owners, don't forget Garrison Blue Jr., Jay Moss, Jared Crow, even Joe Q, JQ is still out there also. So
Yeah, there's definitely some guys you can still look at and find the value.
Yeah, but there are some guys who turned down coming into the supplemental, so we
That's
got to
right.
keep an eye on that. And that was JQ who said that he
JQ was one of the
wasn't.
guys, correct?
Yeah.
There was four players that opted out of the supplemental, and so those players are not eligible to be drafted. But I'm not sure. I haven't seen all of the Horals get called off the board, but do a little bit of draft research. There's probably a couple of the Horal families still out there, and definitely all of them are worth a look. Great family, led by David Harrell, the father of everyone. But again, there's a good family. They're all committed. They all want to be involved and see their player on the field. So if you haven't talked to a Horal yet, make sure you reach out to them. They're available. A couple, I believe, are. And so we've got Las Vegas on the clock, and we've highlighted that they've got two defensive ends. Is this spot where maybe they look, to fill out that defensive line and get that defensive tackle to help with the draws and the dives and the fullback runs up the middle? Is this where they go there, you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I definitely think that is one area that they can go. They only have, as I was going over to it, I know they only had two defensive ends on that front four. Defensive tackle, it kind of has to be the way they want to go, unless they're just going to go, maybe a 3-man type of front and just try to roll with that. But most teams are going 4 here. So the fact that they only have 2, it seems like defensive tackle might be a spot where they probably were like, all right, we can just hold off on this one and wait until the 7th round. Of course, every team has their own draft board and people that they have for specific spots. So I see this as maybe Las Vegas having somebody, and you know what, they're just like, yeah, like I'll go to Las Vegas, and they got their guy, and maybe it's a defensive tackle.
Yeah, owner Max Jackson and was able to attract Slim Shady to come over to the Fury, and we'll see how that shapes their offseason. Colin, any thoughts? As we have the pick in, we're going to go to Commissioner Cameron Irvine for the Fury selection.
With the 132nd pick in the Season 15 SFL Rookie Draft, the Las Vegas Fury select Doug Britton, fullback, Richmond, Virginia. Queen City's on the clock at 133.
I'm going to get to you, Liam, because of your hat, but Jacob has really been championing. He's been calling for Doug Britton, so I want
glad
Jacob
you said
to get
something. What is that?
It's a hat or something.
What is on your head?
Well, no, let's talk about the player first. Let's talk about the player first.
Please,
Doug Britton, Jacob. Let's talk about Doug. Jacob.
Doug Britton, congratulations. I'm glad that my sales pitch worked. Max Jackson, you got a one hell player in Doug Britton. I'm ecstatic for you. I'm lost for words just because of how great of a person Britton is.
So a steal for Las Vegas. Now, Liam, let's get back to this figurine that you're wearing.
I was attacked. It is a monster from a video game I'm very fond of. So I just thought I'd introduce him to the SFL faithful. He's going to be one of my defensive linemen for next season. So
I was going to say one of your offensive linemen for next season.
He's gonna tear through the opposing offense. Oh yeah, he's gonna be my offensive lineman. Yes, very good. Yeah, generic. Hey, Doug Britton. Hey, Doug deserved to get on the team. So congratulations to him. Fullback as well. Crucial position. Very underrated. great pick by Las Vegas. Their GM obviously knows what he's doing, whoever he is. Congratulations to Las Vegas.
Yeah, but Vegas has a really good, little team that they have too. Tom Rahman is there and helps the league tremendously, does a great job. He's got 2 kids on Vegas as well that are really committed and do a great job. Junior at cornerback is a standout guy for them, and Thomasina does a good job at safety. So they do a really good job there in Vegas, and I believe they've got a good culture. Guys that I would not mind being a teammate with. Pick 133 is going to be Queen City. Colin, what might Queen City do here? They've got a bunch of offensive linemen. Do they try to get a 4th or a 5th one here, or might they go somewhere else?
I think they go somewhere else. I believe they have 3 defensive linemen. They could pick a 3rd wide receiver if they haven't already, or a fullback, because remember, they moved Jet Zero from fullback to tailback.
Yeah, and Queen City's another one of those teams. They're not afraid to run the ball. They had a little bit of change in philosophy the last couple of seasons, electing to throw the ball a little bit more, try to add a new wrinkle by bringing a fullback primary offense. Looks like they've reevaluated that, moved Jet Zero to running back. So it's possible that they do add a fullback to help Jet Zero get going in the running game. Again, Eric Barkley, the owner of Queen City, does a really good job scheming running plays, and I think fullback does make a lot of sense here. Jacob Bouvet, let's hear what your thoughts are maybe on this Queen City pick.
It's pretty much right out of my mouth. Moving Jet Zero to halfback. You got to give Jet Zero something, a blocker or a extra blocker. So I see this definitely being a fullback pick.
Liam Crowder, 133 for Queen City. What might they pick?
Eric's been pretty keen on the line players, and that's really where I think this is probably going to go. It's been an interesting off season for Queen City, because they haven't necessarily been as they have every few seasons they sort of go through this process of getting back to a championship competing level. And I think that they are looking more like in shape of doing that. Obviously, having yourself depart, Stephen, is probably not beneficial to Eric. But there's been work done to actually get them back to being on par with the best teams in the league. And Queen City are always going to be competitive. They're the long-lasting dynasty. Chuck it over to Cam, see what he has to say here.
The pick is in 133. Cameron Irvine.
Before I forget, I want to thank all those that have been a part of making this draft an awesome experience. Everybody that gave a live feed, a meme moment, all the team war rooms, Marcus Agrippa with his signings updates, Benji Matson on the still available board. Andy Hamilton did a great job with keeping track of where all the rookies were going on social media and here behind the scenes. Of course, all of our panelists and just everybody that's involved in this monumental undertaking. 137 of the 440 players in the SFL in season 15 will have come from this draft. So congratulations, all involved. With the 133rd pick in the SFL's season 15 rookie draft, the Queen City Corsairs select Digger Graves, defensive end, down by where I used to grow up, Killeen, Texas, 134. That's Sioux Falls. You're on the clock.
So they get the 4th defensive lineman, and I think that really, again, knowing where I came from Queen City, I know that's something that we like there. We want to generate pressure from the defensive line. So little bit of smokescreen there, but yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense for Queen City. He knows how to build them. He knows how to get them to the quarterback. So I think that's a good pick for them. Jeff, let's hear your thoughts on Queen City and Digger Graves.
Yeah, this is a good pick. This is somebody that I originally spoke high on earlier in the draft. today, or actually tonight, early morning for Liam. But this is somebody that's going to be active in the locker room. I know of him from different leagues. So this is a positive guy. Like I said, he's currently serving right now, so he is in Afghanistan. So the time zone is a little off, but more importantly, this is somebody that you know that you could count on as somebody who's going to be active in that locker room and in chat and can be watching every game. So Queen City got somebody on their defensive line. We were kind of expecting where they would go, but here it looks like they're solidifying that defensive line to go with that offensive line that they have. So it looks like it's going to be if Graves stays here for the long haul, then Queen City got somebody here in the 7th round of the supplemental draft that is going to be a force to be reckoned with this season, next season, and seasons beyond.
Something I did want to highlight, just because I'm no longer at Queen City and I've never really got a chance to like not feel cocky about whenever I talk about it. But Queen City, like Liam said, man, they seem to like cycle. It's just like they reload, boom, and then they're back pushing for a championship kind of thing. And Nacho and I had that discussion when we went into ownership. We're like, man, we're right there. We've been pushing and pushing and pushing. We're right here. And it was just with expansion and everything. Nacho and I felt like that was the best move for us. This was our opportunity. And when we looked at it for Queen City, we felt like, man, they're in a really great position. Yeah, he's going to lose Nacho and myself, but we felt like we had left him in a position where he didn't have a lot of turnover. He was right there, ready to go right back into the next season and make the playoffs and push and go for that championship. So Queen City was one of my favorite teams from the moment I joined, and nothing but respect for that organization. They did a great job bringing me and Nacho up and helping us get to where we wanted to be. So forever grateful to Eric Barkley and his organization. And I think you're right, Liam. I think they're ready to reload and compete for that championship. Speaking of championships, this team narrowly missed it last season. Runner-up last season, Sioux Falls. Colin, where might Sioux Falls look to add a player to their roster here?
Well, they've gone defensive line. They already have one offensive lineman. They could go at third corner, or they could go nickel back by adding a fifth defensive back at free safety, or they could flesh out their special teams. There's plenty of directions they could go here.
And so, Liam, Sioux Falls, with their last pick, where might they pick? What might they go for?
I think they could possibly go defensive tackle, maybe one of the special teams, maybe go for a punter. I think the options are pretty limited here, but defensive tackle I think is probably the most solid option for Sioux Falls here. I would probably say that it's been pointed out previously by Eddie, I believe, in terms of what Sioux Falls do. I think that the Sioux Falls guys have a very specific offensive philosophy, and it's just a case of confidence. I think if they'd gone into that championship game just being, just sticking behind what they had done all season to brilliant effect, they would have won that championship, or at least given Atlanta an even closer run for their money than they already did. But Sioux Falls are going to be good. I remember the one thing which always sticks in my mind from Sioux Falls is when I originally came into the league. They were pretty much flinging the ball about like they really were, an air raid type offense. Spreading the ball out. So fair play to those guys. To go out and have that sort of offense and do it really, really well. Fair play to them, and Sioux Falls will be fine. They'll be up there and competing for the playoffs no matter what they do next season.
Jacob, about 20 seconds before this pick's going to be submitted, so give us your thoughts on this pick.
I've been game planning for Sioux Falls, so they're the first team that we play, and my game plan is I see them taking DT up that front line and make it heck on. It seems like a lot of the league is going with the strong front sevens. So I think for any team to stay competitive in this league, you need to that defensive line. So I see Sioux Falls going defensive line.
Yeah, winning those battles in the trench is very important. Pick is in. Commissioner Cameron Irvine.
Before the picks, some more shout-outs. How about all of our content team? Everybody that put together a mock draft. There were 5 different mock drafts circulating. Ashley Jackson, Kramer Jackman, Dave Axis, Coach Craven doing all the podcasts and all the interviews. Mike Twinscrew, Slyn Shady, Jeff Gagne creating content about the draft. All those guys and everything that went into the pre-draft of what was going on here and how we got here. A tremendous job getting us sucked into this mega draft. With the 134th pick in the SFL Season 15 rookie draft, the Sioux Falls Sparrows select Nathan Barnett, free safety, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Tulsa is on the clock. That's the second time that's happened this drive.
So an interesting going free safety, bolstering that backfield for the defense. Jeff, what are your thoughts on this Sioux Falls pick?
Yeah, so going free safety here, getting somebody to pair up behind Jay Ringgold. We all know what he can do. He and AJ Levy have been great, formidable safeties for Sioux Falls for a very long time. And the fact that they're adding somebody to go into that little group with them is something to behold. And Barnett should feel special going into that because these are 2 great players that he's going to have a chance to learn from. But it's just solidifying this defense. They did have 2 openings at defensive tackle. Maybe they were going to think there, but obviously they saw something in Barnett, and they want to pair him with Ringgold and Levy. So this is going to be something to watch with Sioux Falls going forward. This is going to be a good pick for him.
Yeah, Sioux Falls, kind of their defense, especially the 2 safeties, are kind of known to be playmakers, right? They're ball hawks. They just always seem to be able to get their hands on the ball, and it's so frustrating. But yeah, it's a great spot.
Yeah, it just seems that no matter where the quarterback is throwing the football, that it's either Levy's right there or Ringgold is right there. Plus, you got the corners as well. So this
Ringgold
is
in the red zone, man. Ringgold in the red zone is one of those frustrating guys where it's like you feel like it's a touchdown, and he just steps in front of it or just makes this great, fantastic play. So
and you're pairing that with the linebackers too. So,
and finish your thought, Jacob.
Steven, have you been watching my Sims or something? Because that's almost identical for what's going on.
And
you think you're there, man, and they're like, "Bam!" and I'm like, "Man, come on!"
Yeah, that's just if you've watched Sioux Falls over the last 2 or 3 seasons, that's exactly how they play. You know, Levy and Ringgold, man, they're just don't throw at them because they're going to get it. So that if you're a safety or a corner on that team, you have to have faith in Jason McGee calling the plays for you, getting you set up on the defensive side of the ball. Liam, Tulsa's got just under 3 minutes now on the clock with their last pick of the supplemental draft. Made some big offseason moves. Got Gabriel Manning on their team. Where might they go here at the end of this draft to try and balance out their team?
I think they I don't want to just keep saying line positions, but they are particularly popular at the moment. I think that they could opt for I don't know if they picked a second tight end during the supplemental so far, but that could be a possibility. It has been particularly popular across the board for most teams. So I think that would be a solid option for them to get the second tight end. But I think Tulsa are going to be in pretty good shape, regardless of what happens. They got a steady hand behind the centre with Deacon Nickens, long-time veteran of this league. He's going to be thrown to big money man Gabe Manning. So I think they're going to be just fine whatever they do at this stage. Tulsa, they're going to have to draft a project player at this point.
Tulsa has selected in the supplementary rounds. They selected an offensive lineman and they got a free safety. But how about this? They already had an offensive lineman. They drafted an offensive lineman in the supplemental. What if they got a fullback for Sanzo Robinson? What if Sanzo Robinson had a lead blocker? We will find out. The pick is in. Commissioner Cameron Irvine.
And again, I want to take you on a little bit of a journey here in terms of how we do the draft behind the scenes. So this is our sort of hub screen where we have. I just gave a spoiler there. My apologies. I'll announce the pick right now. With the 135th pick, the Tulsa Desperados select Mo Austin from Tulsa, Oklahoma. You saw it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Spoilers,
Congratulations to Mo.
Spoilers.
But yeah, so you can see our pick board. We have all the picks in their hometowns here. Mike and Proda put together a great sheet of all of the rookie information. We've got player rooms. We've got owner rooms here. That's how we're able to see Harish still staring at Robert Garrett Jr.
I don't blame.
We've got
And he still has the same Heineken that he had earlier. Like
yes.
he hasn't finished it.
Yeah,
I remember my beer, Harish.
He said he was
believe
going to
that's
chug
true.
it.
Here's where I looked up the Let It Go lyrics to see if I could sing any more than Let It Go, and I chose not to. Here's how we're able to make all of our graphics and visuals for the game. So those are operations behind the scenes, and that's how it all gets done, and that's how you produce a draft for 137 picks. The 136th pick, that's Florida. You're on the clock.
Fantastic look behind the scenes, man. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? I love that. That's like what gets me in this league. You know, the coaching and the ownership, that's all great. But I love the behind the scenes. You know, I've always kind of wanted to be like a sports broadcaster, be on TV, be an owner of a team, be a scout, that kind of stuff. So, you know, all this stuff to me is just so exciting when we get to see this and we get to show our community. It's just so fun for me to be a part of that. Jeff, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Man, I mean, I didn't know what all went into it until I joined the broadcast team, and then being on the first TV broadcast is surreal. The amount of stuff that Cam is doing week in and week out, and I mean, this is awesome. How much that everybody has put into this. The fact that Agrippa was a rookie last season, and he's done so much for this community already, and it's just growing by the day. You got all the owners as well doing their own thing as well. So on top of having to do the Twitter and the Instagram or the Facebook pages, I mean, Liam does the website as well. So I mean, there's just so much that goes into this league that makes it run. That if people knew behind the scenes all the work that went in, it would be pretty mind blowing.
That's right. Jacob, your thoughts on some of the stuff that goes behind the scenes and how much you appreciate everything so that we get this great product and every week, every season.
And but the behind the scenes is phenomenal. Being a rookie last year, being a head coach and just seeing all the work that Cam does and in the stats team and everything else like that. Without you guys, as successful as what we are. So the stats team and Cam and the whole broadcast team, I tip my hat off to you because you guys put in a substantial amount of work. Thank you so much for allowing me to sit here and talk with everyone on here also.
Colin, your thoughts? I know you do some work behind the scenes with this, man. What your thoughts?
Yeah, it's just to use the phrase. I know it's a cliche. It takes a village, and just to see how it's grown, especially with the advent of the national television deal, and we have people streaming in all the time, but especially during the season, I feel like it's fast and furious. We'll get dozens and dozens, coming seemingly every day.
Yeah.
Which adds up to hundreds of new people, and which opens up opportunities. It's just really a great thing to be a part of, and I'm just happy to be a part of the broadcast team as well.
Absolutely. Liam, webmaster, all kinds of stuff, man. Who do you want to thank, or what do you want to let know about things that go on behind the scenes, man?
Yeah, there's so much going on. I mean, it still blows my mind really just how much has happened since I originally joined the league, and all credit to Cam for everything that he does and everybody involved in the league in all facets, whether it is as a player or if it's as a coach, as league staff. Everybody plays their part. Everybody's part of the team, and we're going to see who's part of Florida's team. I see Ron's saying in the chat that Florida need a QB. I think that second QB spot probably he's got a trick up his sleeve. Maybe you never
Is
know.
Riverboat Ron running out of steam? Is that what Florida's trying to tell us? All right, pick 136. Cameron Irvine, the commissioner, with the pick.
With the 136th pick in the SFL Season 15 rookie draft, the Florida Storm select Veridin Zarkov, tight end, Annapolis, Maryland. Pick 137, Mr. Irrelevant or Mrs. Irrelevant, hardly in the SFL. You're next to Jacksonville.
So Florida gets a tight end, and I think that's scary. Just me personally, knowing that Max Paul is going to be back in charge, Mighty's going to be back in charge of the offense, I'm really worried. I don't know what kind of wrinkle he's going to give us, but I think maybe.
Hey, Stephen.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's hear it.
This is. Let me put it this way: if we get to the end of the season and Florida are playing in a championship game, mark my words, this will be the guy who ends up getting the winning catch.
Oh, flip it.
Maybe that's a bit of an outlandish statement, but if Mighty's going to get value out of a seventh round pick, then it's going to be him. So you never know. You never know.
Love it. Love it. Second to last pick, Jeff. What is Florida going to do with Veridin Zarkov?
Oh, Zarkov. We kind of figured they would go tight end. It was just a matter or a question of where they would. They moved EJ Minson to receiver when he signed his contract to re-sign with Florida. So the fact that Mighty waited until the 7th round, the second to last pick of the entire SFL draft, you knew he was doing his homework on exactly who he wanted to bring in. Meanwhile, when Zarkov was the receiver for San Jose, 3 touchdowns in the minor league. This dude, he produces 6'4", 220. We'll have to see exactly what the build is for the tight end, but already one of the height wise for the tight end right there at 6'4" you can start at. So we'll have to see what happens, but he's going to an offensive genius and a coach who knows exactly what he's doing. You don't win 3 consecutive championships for not knowing nothing. So I think that he's in good hands. He's with a good team. I was there last season, so that locker room, they're going to be pumped, and Zarkov is just going to add to it. And I can't wait to see what he does on game days. Hopefully not week 12 when he's playing against Louisiana, but anytime outside of that, he can have big games.
So Jacob, I want to switch to pick number 137, Mr. or Mrs. Irrelevant. And my thoughts on this is I would actually like that title. I would want to be the last person selected, me personally, because that's that chip on my shoulder. That's that I was the last guy taken or gal taken, and that's my chance to show every other team how much of a contributor I can be, because you're this baseline. So now you can set the standard for everybody else. You come out, you be a rock star, social media, represent your team in the right way, or whatever may have you. Just be a rock star for your team and set the standard for that number 1 overall pick, from Fort Worth, David Orrell. Set the standard for him. Show the league that you being taken here at this spot is valid and worthy, and show them why. And so, Jacob, I want your thoughts on this Mr. and Mrs. Irrelevant pick and how you kind of view that.
Oh, Stephen, I'm the exact same way you are, and what Cam says, there's nobody here in this community that is irrelevant at all. So, I would love to be this pick. If Cam was to call my name for the very last pick in this draft, I would be jumping up and down for joy. I would have a bottle of champagne. I would jump in my pool. I would do something because you know what? I got picked. Now, it doesn't matter if you're the first or the last. It just
Right.
matters that you get picked. And for the rookies that didn't get picked, don't let this, ruin your spirit. Let this ruin your SFL time here. Go down into the minors and build your character, because if you were there last year, you're going to be an even better person this year.
And I think that that's a great point because of the relationships that you built in the minors, right? So you've got these opportunities you're still a part of this community. It's just there's a demand and an opportunity factor to it all. So it's not that you're not worthy of the opportunity. It's just that maybe it wasn't there right now. And I apologize for my dog, but that opportunity just wasn't there right now for you. But don't give up, because if you give up, you'll never get the opportunity. Colin, your thoughts on pick? I'm sorry, Jacob. I didn't mean to cut you off. Finish your thought, Jacob.
You find it, and also owners notice that. Owners will notice, and general managers and front half stuff notice how you take this, how you're affected by this. So if you're all Debbie Downer and that type of thing, I'm going to notice that. And my staff is going to notice it. So stay upbeat, and as John Trusman would say, stay positive and stay happy.
That's right. And the pick is in. Number 137, Commissioner Cameron Irvine. Let's wrap this one up.
If you were not selected in the draft, players can be replaced for extenuating circumstance inactivity after week 1. Players can be replaced for regular inactivity after week 2. And anybody with a pro subscription has access to replace those players throughout the season. If you have a pro subscription, you get first priority to your minor league position if you did not play in SFLM last season. And if you played in SFLM last season and you do not get drafted, you can still continue to bank value towards your player all SFL season long. Put it on your player in the minor leagues as you start your second minor league season, and you will be a beast and at the top of the leaderboards by then with a ton of value. So the stage is set. We're ready for our last pick. With the 137th pick of the SFL Season 15 rookie draft and the 440th player to participate in the SFL's 15th anniversary season, the Jacksonville Kings select Ricky Thornton, offensive line, Los Angeles, California.
Everybody happy. So it's great season 15 draft, all 7 rounds complete. Every team, I'm sure our GMs and owners are eager to get these rookie contracts out and approved and get these guys in the locker room and signed and working on the off season. So Liam, I've been kind of quiet here. What's your next step? What's your next step going into the season?
Just keep working at it. We've got a plan. I'm sure that Jeff, Jacob, yourself, Colin have all got plans of what we want to do with our playbook, with our players. For London, there's so many things going on that I'm just trying to keep track of and just make sure that we keep moving forward. We got great content guys now in Benji and Jeff, and we got guys who are wanting to step up and be a contributor. And there's a lot of buzz around us now, and I'm looking forward to being able to put the playbook, which I've been working on all off season, into actual practice in a live game scenario. Got a scrimmage against Florida. We're seeing more and more pre-season type stuff ramping up from all sorts of different teams, and it's always great to see other teams take that sort of thing on. And I'm more excited for this season than I have ever have been, and it's going to be a great one.
Colin, give us a quick recap and an outro, and then we're going to get the whole panel, and then we're going to get out of here. Colin?
Well, it's been a marathon session, several days, gosh knows how many hours, and now the real work begins. Putting in the playbooks, trying to figure out who your preseason opponent's going to be, who's going to be your unofficial scrimmage opponent, and the work is just starting, and now the real fun can begin.
That's right. Jacob Bouvet, your first off season. What are you looking to do as we get closer to the season 15 kickoff?
I'm just happy that the draft is over and that I have a full team. Like you, there was a time it was just me and one other person, in our locker room. So I'm looking forward to getting on the field and cracking pads and showing the SFL what the and Fleet are about and showing that a rookie owner such as you can put in work and contend and be competitive in this league.
Awesome. Jeff.
Man, it's there's no downtime here. Now we got our guys. Now it's time to get to work on progression. So that is what I'm going to be doing for the next probably next 2-3 weeks. Make sure that is all set in stone before the season kicks off. But yeah, week 1 is coming up fast and quick. So scrimmages are going to be playing. So make sure everybody tunes into those. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be a fun ride all the way until the end of the season.
It is. And so the season kicks off July 17th. That is a Friday. This is the end of the draft. I'm Steven Hacker for my panelists and for producer Cameron Irvine. You guys have a great one, and we'll see you out there.
See ya.